Bruchim Habayim, welcome everyone. We are continuing on Shulchan Aruch or Chaim Hilchot Shabbat. Siman Resh Samech Gimel is what we are doing, and we're up to Seif Bet and Daf Lamed Hey Amud Bet of the regular prince of Mishna Berura. Maran writes, and this is straightforward from the Rambam in Hilchot Shabbat. Echad ha'anashim ve'echad ha'anashim chayavim liot bebateim ner taluk b'Shabbat. Hadakat nerot is not a thing of women only. Any person, any yid, a man that lives alone, also needs to do halakat nerot. By the same time, it is the mitzvah of women. The Gemara darshins, right? He chavta nero shel olam, because Chava figuratively turned off the light of the world, because again, the death that came to the world was the consequence of Adam and Chava eating from Etzadat, which was initiated by Chava. So she will bring light forever. Her job would be to bring light, bring life to the world. You know, the childbirth by itself is bringing life to the world. The light of Shabbat is bringing spiritual life to the world. So that is the Ikara mitzvah of women. But if you have no woman there, or if she's not available, she's not well, or she's not home, then the husband would be doing hadlakat nerot as well. Afilu elo ma yochal, and this is so important that even if you don't have anything to eat, shoel ala petachim ve'lokach shemen umadlik et haner. You'll go door knocking to collect tzedakah in order to have hadlakat ner on Shabbat in your house. Shezeh bichlal onik Shabbat hu. This is considered part and parcel of onik Shabbat, right? Which means really doesn't. What it means is if a person is already zakuk letzedakah, it becomes part of the mitzvah tzedakah for the gabayim, for the tamchui, for the tzedakah organization, to see to it that he has not just food, but he also has nerot Shabbat. Says the Mishna Berura, v'ner Shabbat kodem likach mish'ar ma'achalim. If you have bread, right, that the rest of the Shabbat needs come after ner Shabbat, right? That's how important it is. Now, of course, if you don't have bread, right, you first have to get bread for Shabbat, more important than the candles, because that's Sudat Shabbat, right? That you have to have, because you have mitzvah Kiddush, right? You'll have lechem for Shabbat, we'll do the mitzvah of Kiddush, and the Ikar of Sudat Shabbat. So Kiddush is the Oraita, mitzvah of Kiddush for Friday night. So that's something very important, and you'll have Onik Shabbat as well. But again, as we explained, the kavanah over here in Shulchan Aruch is that you don't have your own food, you need tzedakah. So once you need tzedakah, once this family, this person is included in charitable acts, so to speak, he needs charity. So then we would have to give him from kupat tzedakah, from the account of tzedakah of the tzibur, not just bread and food, but he would get candles for Shabbat as well, and that even comes before any other delicacies of Shabbat, of onik Shabbat that he would get. Fine. Sif Gimel, Maran writes, Hanashim muzharim bo yoter, as we explained a minute ago, women are more responsible for the hadlakat nerot of Shabbat because of the history that we mentioned. Mipeneh shemetzuyot bebayit v'oskot b'sorchei habayit. Al pi pshat, says the Shulchan Aruch, there is an additional reason also that they're always home. They know what the house needs, and they are in charge of seeing to it that the household is operational. And the simple understanding of Nerot Shabbat is to have an operational home. You need light. Imagine a world that did not have any outside lights. There's no street lights. There's no windows in through which light comes in, emanates through. There's no skylights, right? If you don't have nerot, it's pitch black. Try to live in a pitch black place with your family. This one is banging his head to the wall, the other one's tripping over and falling, and this one's yelling at that, and that one is yelling at this, and there's no shalom bayit. Like, it's not an operational home when you don't have proper lighting. And that's what we mentioned before also in Seif Aleph. That's not just in your dining room. Any place that you will be walking through on Friday night needs light. Now nowadays we don't do more candles because Baruch Hashem we have luminance of very high caliber, to the degree that it makes it questionable how in the world are you saying bracha on Nerot Shabbat when you have all these lights, right? Which we'll get to. You really should be turning it off and saying the bracha, lighting them and the candles together, lichvot Shabbat. But nevertheless, the woman is in charge of seeing to it that the house is operational. If you don't have enough money to buy candles for Shabbat and also to buy wine for Kiddush Hayom, Ner Shabbat Kodem. Ner Shabbat, says the Rambam, takes precedence. Why? Because it's Shalom Bayit, right? And you could say Kiddush on bread, right? So you could be Yotze Kiddush with saying it on the bread, and you'll have saved your money for candles for Shabbat to have proper lighting. Same is for Ner Shabbat and Ner Chanukah. Even though the Ner Chanukah is so important that you will be going knocking on the doors for tzedakah to light Nerot Chanukah, Pirsum Nisa is so important. You would say Pirsum Nisa should be pushing away anything. It does, normally it does, right? Any mitzvah that's Mishum Pirsum Nisa is super duper important. But when that comes in contrast with Nerot Shabbat, which one is more important? Nerot Shabbat is more important. Why? Ner Shabbat Kodem, Mishum, he says the final secret words, Mishum Shalom Habayit. Because that's the peace and tranquility in the house. Without peace, you can't live. Shalom Bayit, this is one of those Rambams that every Shalom Bayit year they bring this, every Chanukah everyone speaks about this. This is like one of the old-time famous Rambams. Mishum Shalom Bayit. You have to understand that peace in the house is more important than Pirsum and Nisa and all these things, right? You have to first have a household. If you want to have a community, you first have to have a house, right? People talk about this. This is my one of my pet peeves when it comes to any of these shiurim that either Shalom Bayit or Chinuch Habanim, or even problems in the community. People have, there's drug problems, there's smoking problems, there's gang problems in the community. There's this problem. You know what? It's very easy to get overwhelmed with problems in the community, right? Every community has problems. But when you have a problem in the community, you can't miss the fact that every community, all it is a combination of a bunch of families. That's what it is. Every community is just a few families that form together and form a community. So if you have a problem in a community-wide range, it means that the families are suffering. If you had a mother, the mothers were instead of being feminist, they would be actually embracing the role as a mother, as someone that could do something that nobody else could do, right? To be there for the children and to take care of their families, to give life lessons to their kids by spending time with them and imbuing them with self-confidence and with life lessons. And the fathers would be, instead of on their phones, instead of being workaholics, they would be home spending time with if you had units of family like that growing up, that would be not a problem in as much the drugs and the alcohol and the addictions and so on and so forth. All these things would not be this. So Chazal, in their genius, they said this in a short thing. Mishum Shalom Bayit. You want to be involved with Pirsum and Nisa to shine the light of Chanukah to the world. First, shine the light to your own household, so to speak, to make sure that you have enough focus on there. So that's, again, Hadlakat Nerot is part of glorifying the Su'udot of Shabbat, and it goes with with all the other things that we have mentioned prior, that Mitzvat Oneg Shabbat is to have a Gishmak Su'udah, right? Whatever makes it Gishmak, right? You want the kids to be, to not want to be anywhere else. That's what it is. Like all that falls under Shalom Bayit as well. Again, this became a hashkafic talk now. We're back in Shulchan Aruch. V'chenim en yado maseket liknot ner Shabbat v'Chanukah ner Shabbat kodem mishum Shalom Bayit de'en Shalom bebayit belo ner. You can't have peace and tranquility without having light at home, and therefore that takes precedent. V'im en yado maseket liknot yayin lekiddush liknot ner Chanukah. The Ramah puts kind of like in parentheses over here. It says if you're wondering what happens when you contrast Ner Chanukah and Yain LeKiddush later on in Hilchot Chanukah in Siman Tafresh Ayin Het, it's going to be discussed over there as well. So that's our Seif over here. Now, if you have one candle for Shabbat, that's sufficient. The two is Mitzvah Mina Mufchar. So if you could save money by not buying two, just buy one and have Kiddush, of course you should be doing that. 100% you should be doing that, right? The rest of the money you should spend on Kiddush, not on two candles for Shabbat, right? Certainly those people who do 7 and 10, as we mentioned before in the Ramah and in Mishna Berura, they certainly should be diminishing it to 1 and spending the rest on Oneg Shabbat, on Mitzvah Kiddush and Oneg Shabbat. So says the Mishna Berura, כתב המגן אברהם, דאישה סומה גם כן יכולה לברך על נר שבת. A blind woman, Rahman al-Islam, could also say bracha on nerot Shabbat. She has no benefit from Ladik ner Shabbat. So why is she making bracha? She sees nothing, right? Her world is dark. The ner does not do anything for her, right? Says the Magen Avraham, she indirectly benefits from it because she lights the nerot, and then people who are there, they now could see, and they direct her also. When she's walking and there's a blockage or a stumbling block in front of her, they guide her, they tell her not to walk there, they take her hand and walk her around. When others around her could see, she benefits from that light as well. But if she has a husband that is not blind, then says the Mishna Berura hu yevarech, he should be doing the bracha of candle lighting. He should be doing it. And also on Tosefet or, she does not say bracha. In other words, if she is in a place that already there is light, other people have said bracha on Nerot Shabbat, she should not be doing it anymore because she has no reason of her own. She only says the bracha because others are going to be benefited. So others said bracha already and did it themselves. She does not do Hadlakat Nerot. She certainly, she could do it, but she certainly does not say bracha on Hadlakat Nerot. The reason that everyone says bracha is because it's additional light, brings additional simcha. But for her, that does not necessarily bring additional simcha, and therefore she would not say a bracha on it. That would conclude Seif Gimel of our Siman. Bezrat Hashem will continue Seif Dalit in the days to come.